Reality is like a film set. There are directors,
Action!
producers,
Are we on schedule?
and even actors.
Can somebody get me a coffee?
The trick is realizing that you are playing all of these roles. You are the executive producer of your reality. My name is Daniel,
My name is Lauren.
and we're here to break the fourth wall to discover what's behind the scenes. And what you hear just might have you saying, "That's so meta." Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to That's So Meta, where we discuss the mystical, magical, and the metaphysical. My name is Daniel James,
My name is Lauren.
and this is our first episode,
I'm really excited.
and we're winging it.
We're winging it.
We're winging it. We're not podcasters. We've never done this before. It was a whim, and it was an exciting idea to kind of just talk and get ourselves out there and
Yeah, have an open discussion about different metaphysical ideas and communicate them in a way that's more casual instead of like a lecture or anything like that. It's more I don't know, more personable, I'd say.
cool.
Yeah.
I agree.
Which
it's
is
fun.
Yeah,
It's a different speed than what we do,
yeah.
as we're going to talk about what we do.
Yeah.
So for today's episode, I'd like to thank our sponsor. That's the Steel Town Entertainment Project, located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They've been nice enough to let us use their space and their gear to do a couple different projects that we're filming here. So
Yeah.
thank you very much, Steel Town. We really appreciate it.
And
Happy
these
to be here.
Really nice cups.
And they gave us cups.
They're
for water.
branded. Super duper sweet.
They have the Steel Town logo on it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So, yeah. All right. So, this first episode is going to be kind of an introduction to who you and I are, what we're about, how we got here, anything we want. Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so what we're going to talk about is kind of like our backstory and everything that we're involved in and what we do and why we do it.
Mhm.
And I feel really good about this. I want to say that this was Lauren's idea, this whole podcast idea. You know, we've got the video, and then we're going to be putting this on SoundCloud. Hey, SoundCloud. Because everything we do is very formal, you know.
It's
We're
very high
filmmakers.
production value.
Right. We like attention to detail, and we produce a lot of things. And there's a lot of, articulation and attention to detail in a sense that, like, just doing something like this where we can talk and just BS a little bit about the things we're passionate in a more candid way, I think is really cool. So thanks to Lauren for coming up with this idea.
You're very welcome.
I am an actor and a filmmaker, and I teach metaphysics. You will hear me say that everywhere. It's my freaking slogan.
It's a brand.
It's a brand.
It's Daniel James brand.
And over the years, I went through my spiritual awakening in 2012. And I I set out to be an actor. And I thought to myself in 2010, I mean, I've always wanted to be an actor my whole life.
Yeah.
Ever since I was a little kid, I was watching Keanu Reeves movies, and he was my hero. Keanu Reeves was the action star of my generation, and he still is killing it.
Oh my gosh.
Keanu Reeves cannot be stopped.
He can't.
And I'm a little kid, watching his movies, and just like every kid has their hero that they look up to and that inspires them, Keanu Reeves, was that symbol for me. And I decided that at a very early age that I wanted to do that. I wanted to be Rocky. I wanted to be Neo. I wanted to be all the heroes and the action stars, so acting became a passion of mine. And I tried doing it, in high school, and we took a film class. My buddies Robert Pruce and Brandon Dornan and a couple other friends. We would just like produce little indie films in our backyard. So I always had like, a calling and an inspiration and a genuine desire to produce films and act. I loved it. And, nothing makes me happier. And so I was doing that all throughout high school, and we had a blast. And then when I graduated high school, I decided that I wanted to pursue filmmaking, and I wrote scripts and screenplays, and I wrote, superheroes and all kinds of different genres. And then and some things happened in my life, and I fell out of it. You know, I got into music and I was dating girls and moving around a lot. I just didn't have a lot of time to do film like I wanted to. And it kind of circled around when I started joining bands. I wanted to do like music videos and stuff. And then in 2010, I moved from Washington State to Niagara Falls, New York. And that's when I decided to really rekindle my fire of not just working on music and music videos, but producing films and acting. So I thought to myself, here's what I'll do. As an actor, you know, it can be sometimes challenging to land roles, and you got to go to auditions, and it's scary, and you're always, you know, trying to get cast in something. So I said, I'm just going to pick up a camera, teach myself how to produce little backyard movies like I'd always done since high school, and I'll act in them. And that way I'll be able to, you know, practice and rehearse and get experience in front of the camera. And not in so much in a way that's like limited or stifled in any way, like, you know, going to auditions and trying to get cast in local productions or big productions. I thought I'll just produce my own movies and then act in them. And that will be, you know, my training to start off with. So I did that in 2010. I started producing little indie films, and I loved it. You know, I found my joy there because I was able to act, and then I taught myself how to edit video and shoot video. And over the years, since 2010 to 2013, I had done so many, you know, independent acting roles and produced so many short films and music videos. And I was starting to do like commercials and advertisements and documentaries that I went into full-time videography. So I hated my job. I genuinely hated my job. Soul-sucking, draining, 9 to 5. You know, the kind of job that you're not appreciated. It's very low vibrational, dense, 3D work.
Oh, I know.
And so I literally got myself fired. I'm going to go on record and say I deliberately got myself fired because I couldn't bring myself to quit. But I knew I needed a way out, so I just fucked off until they walked me out of the building.
Yeah.
And that's how it went. And ever since then, I said, okay. Called my dad and I said, well, Dad, I got fired from my job today. And if I'm honest, you know, I kind of invited that. I was happy. And I'd been producing music videos and short films so much that, you know, I kind of tripped into producing videos and getting paid for it sometimes. So I said, what should I do, Dad? You know, I really want to pursue my acting and my film career, but I need to get another job, something that maybe I like a little better. And he goes, well, son, this is my dad, Robin Lowe. He goes, well, son, I think that if you were to go back and get another 9 to 5, you would be going the wrong direction. I just don't think it's a good idea for you. If you like shooting video and you like acting and you like making movies, then you should keep pursuing that and see what happens. And that was in 2013. My dad, you know, who still works, hard labor job to this day. Labor. Told his son, you know, go chase your dreams. Go do something you love. You know, don't go backwards, go forward. So here we are, 2019, May 2019. And now I am a full-time filmmaker and a videographer for a living. And I also, you know, still get my acting in where I can. And we've developed a creative way to kind of get me in front of the camera where I can be creative, but also express my, you know, my metaphysical and my spiritual beliefs, which have now become a part of my life. These aren't just things that I study, but these are ways of life now, principles that I've learned over the years that make up my reality.
Yeah.
And it's brought us to where we are today. So we're going to talk a little bit about all the projects that we got going on, but let's get to know Lauren a little bit.
Hi.
Well, you know, where'd you get started? What was your journey like?
So regarding filmmaking, my journey started similar, where I would just, I was homeschooled growing up, and from a very young age, I was very secluded from a lot of things. So my sort of adventurous childhood imagination, all of those ideas came from film and from, you know, TV shows. And I would, you know, that was sort of like my into society because I was very secluded. And so that became an obsession for me. And then I ended up going to school for special makeup effects. When I was in high school, the team from the school that I went to came by and did a demonstration, a makeup demonstration. They did like scarring and all kinds of different things. And I was just totally like fixed on that idea of going to this school. So I ended up going, and I graduated in May of last year, so a year ago. And I met all these really wonderful people there, but then I realized that makeup really wasn't my passion. It wasn't like the thing that I felt comfortable doing. But I still wanted to be in the industry. And yeah, and then ever since then we met. And I've been learning all the different aspects of filmmaking. So I've been doing cameras, I've been doing lighting, pre-production, post-production. I've learned how to edit. I've kind of been everywhere trying to find like a place that I really like. But for the most part, it's like what you said, like I'm just trying to be taught how to do these things so that I can just do what I want, what I prefer. And a lot of the projects that we have going on, I enjoy them immensely. Oh my gosh. It's such a great creative outlet because I don't usually do that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
It's a brief history. I don't know how clear that was, but.
So we're doing this podcast, and forgive us. We're new to this. We don't claim to be sound engineers, and we don't have the best gear and things like that. And obviously, we have a very, if you're watching the video here, and instead of just listening to it on SoundCloud, we built a little set here. We have a little table, but it's all very entry level. So bear with us. We're figuring this out as we go.
Yeah.
And and it's fun just to be able to talk.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the things that we're doing, okay?
Sure.
Well, I've been guided in the years of pursuing my acting career that's turned into a full-time sort of videographer career, if I'm honest, which is not bad. It's good. They're all in the same universe. In pursuit of my acting career, I worked a lot as a background extra on, big union productions. I've been producing my own indie films pretty much nonstop for almost 9 years. And over the course of working as a videographer and pursuing an acting career, I'm going through my spiritual awakening. And that's ultimately what led me into all of the, metaphysical beliefs and in studying how the universe works and what I call reality mechanics or spirit science.
Right.
So I would say in about summer 2014, over 2013 and 2014 were the time periods after my spiritual awakening had started, but it was when I started to get really fired up and excited about what I was learning and really started to study. So I got into, things like the law of attraction, which I call very entry-level metaphysics, like 101 law of attraction, metaphysics 101. Is like, we're deliberate creators. We manifest our reality. Everything is frequency and vibration and energy. And, those are things that like, The Secret teaches you, and there was other books written, like Pam Grout, things like that. And I was studying, a good friend of mine had given me a book called Seth Speaks right after my spiritual awakening. And the Seth Speaks material was Jane Roberts and her husband. And Jane Roberts was channeling a being known as Seth. And at the time that she'd given me the first book in the series, I didn't know what channeling was. I didn't know how it worked. But I was reading this book, and it was amazing. It's like Metaphysics 101 from the perspective of this, very, evolved conscious being. And I'm reading it, and I don't really like know what channeling is. And it's kind of weird to me that I'm reading this book that's written by, Jane Roberts and her husband, but it's from the perspective of this Seth being. Well, in the Seth material, I learned the first technique, how to meditate. And in that process of meditation, I learned how to use manifesting techniques, being a deliberate creator, using the law of attraction through this, meditating technique that was more of like altering your brainwave frequency by using, a form of focus.
Right.
And from there, I started that book and got really excited about it. And the big takeaway from Seth Speaks, no disrespect, was my arrogance and my ego being excited that I could deliberately create my reality. So I wanted to master law of attraction.
Right.
So once I finished that book, I started looking up like YouTube videos and studying online other methods of law of attraction. And I found, of course, Abraham Hicks, Esther and Jerry Hicks.
Mm-hmm.
So I started studying her material a lot on YouTube and learning her techniques on how to, use the law of attraction and be a deliberate creator and things like that. And I kept seeing, this other suggested video come up by Bashar.
Mm-hmm.
It was in the suggested videos when you're watching Abraham Hicks on YouTube, when you're looking at law of attraction stuff. It kept coming up and I kept seeing it. And I remember getting annoyed that the same video just kept popping up over
Mm-hmm.
and over and over. I didn't want to watch it. I was like,
But that's like what fuels you to click on it too,
Yeah.
because it's like,
I was, like,
I
getting
gotta,
annoyed.
like I have to at this point. It's been there like 12 other times. Might as well.
And I'll tell you, if you're listening, that is like a tool. It's like a reality tool.
It is, absolutely.
When something comes into your awareness that you're interested, draws you in,
Mm-hmm.
but for some reason you just don't click on it, or you don't read that book, or you don't watch that movie,
Mm-hmm.
do it.
Yeah.
Because every time I've crossed that bridge,
Mm-hmm.
it's changed my life. So I click on this Bashar video, and I resonate immediately with this Daryl Anka channeling Bashar.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm still relatively new to channeling as a concept. I knew Seth, I knew Abraham Hicks, but getting into the way that Daryl does it, getting into the less of a collective from a, perspective and more of like the ET consciousness
Right.
resonated with me a lot. So I click on this video and it's Bashar teaching a 15-minute law of attraction manifesting technique, and I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
You see, Abraham Hicks is great, but she teaches that material is more of like a broad spectrum,
Mm-hmm.
Approach to law of attraction, where I was more fascinated and intrigued by the scientific approach, which is more so Bashar's material.
Right.
So here we are, summer 2014, and I get into Bashar's material and I'm like crazy about it. And now I'm just absorbing. This was back before Bashar Communications, put the lockdown on their content and then, took all their videos off YouTube. There was like there's 30 years worth of content on YouTube of Bashar. So I start studying that material. And then my partner and I at the time ended up moving from Buffalo, New York to Western Pennsylvania to McDonald, PA. And I had a lot of free time being freelance as a video editor and pursuing an acting career. You just got a lot of time to kill. So I'm studying and I'm listening to all this channeling and I'm reading and I'm, growing my knowledge of reality and how reality works. And I found that channeling was the most accessible source of information that resonated with me personally the most.
Right.
And that was what ultimately inspired my team with Tragic Hero Productions, which at the time was Sammy and Eric, to produce a film on channeling.
Mm-hmm.
We were all for anybody who's listening, anybody in my immediate circle of friends, were big extraterrestrial enthusiasts.
Mm-hmm.
We love what I call my star family.
Yeah.
So anything that had to do with aliens and ETs, I was very drawn to. I had to learn about that, and we're going to talk a lot about them. It's going to be an overtone on this series. We're going to be talking about the star family quite a bit. So if you want to learn about them and hear some stories, this is where you're going to find it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to produce this movie about channeling. Well, I wasn't a channel at the time. I knew how to alter my brainwave frequencies and I knew how to meditate, but I didn't know how to channel.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to produce this movie, and I say, okay, I'm going to do a movie about channeling that sort of touches on some things that I've experienced in my life, spiritually and in my reality, and we're going to tell the story of how I learned to channel or how I came into channeling.
Yeah.
So my team and I write it together, and I said, okay, I'm going to train myself how to channel for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't want to be a channeler. I want to be a channeler, but I'm going to learn how to channel for the movie.
You wanted authenticity.
Yes.
You wanted to connect with somebody that wasn't fake. It wasn't like you were making up these stories. You wanted some sort of valid.
Exactly. We didn't want to make a fake entity and then act it out. We wanted to channel for the movie. And it was really beautiful the way that manifested. The film is called Those Who Seek. here's my shameless plug. Everything I do talks about Those Who Seek. If you know me, I did a sci-fi movie about aliens and channeling. It's called Those Who Seek. And we met
What's it called? One more time.
Those Who Seek.
I didn't quite catch that.
Those who seek, those who seek, those who seek, those who seek, those who seek. And so I'm like this a little fanboy on the internet who loves aliens and loves channeling and wants to do a movie about it. So I start finding more people who do it. And I thought, Daryl Anka and Bashar is never going to be accessible, but I thought, maybe I could sort of get the community to help me.
Yeah.
And so I reached out. I saw Brad Johnson, my buddy Brad Johnson. Hey, Brad Johnson, if you're listening, hey, buddy. I saw him doing the Adronis thing. Mm-hmm. He channels the Adronis. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all of you. Mm-hmm. And I liked it a lot. And I thought, hey, maybe this guy would be interested in helping in some way. So I sent Brad a cold message on Facebook saying, hey, my name is Daniel. I'm going to do a movie on channeling. I was wondering if you'd be able to help me in any way. And he was instantly, open and accessible to help. And, he was really interested and excited about what we were doing and wanted to learn more. So Brad was our big help with Those Who Seek.
Right.
Brad, at the time, this is 2015 now, he put me in touch with, he goes, yeah, man, I'm definitely happy to help. Anything you need from me. If you want to use my videos or whatever you need, let me know what I can do. And so he put me in touch with Rob Gothier, who at the time was known for channeling Trebor Yitney and Ardif. Mm-hmm. And so, hey, Rob and Kalina, hey, we're only here because of your help. Rob and Kalina, the ET Whisperers, good friends of ours. We'll talk about them. Yes. Hey, Rob and Kalina, we love you.
We do.
They support everything we do and our channeling and our movies. Check them out. They're great.
They're great.
They offer channeling sessions too.
Really great.
Go to their website.
We love them.
So Brad sends me to Rob, says, hey man, I'd love to help you. Let's do this. Whatever you need, whatever you want my videos, you want me to help, like whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I want to get Daryl Anka, Bashar to donate videos for the movie. Mm-hmm. And he goes, okay, well, I know Daryl. We collaborated on something a long time ago, and I'm in communication with him. So here's his contact information, and reach out to him and see if he's willing to help. And I was like, fuck, this is crazy, because I'm like Daryl Anka, Bashar, fanboy. I'm a fanboy of Bashar for, years, now. And so I email Daryl and say, hey man, my name is Daniel, and I'm teaching myself how to channel. And we're wondering by chance, this is a movie. It's a sci-fi movie about my journey into channeling. And I was wondering by chance if you'd be interested in participating by donating the use of some of your, Bashar videos that my character will be watching in one of the scenes. And Daryl wrote me back, like the next day, very professional, very concise, very formal. And I was excited. I was like, oh my God. I was like telling everybody, Daryl wrote me back. Yeah. And he said, hi, Daniel, thank you for reaching out, in regards to your project. It sounds fascinating and interesting. He goes, at this time, we're unable to participate because the story of your film is very similar to the story of a film that we're also producing. Mm-hmm. And so, we think that maybe it would be a little bit of a conflict of interest in a sense to be, working on two different projects that have the same message and the same story. And I said, okay, well, I understand, thank you very much. I hope that, we can maybe collaborate in the future in some way. Mm-hmm. I left it at that. So I was a little discouraged, bummed out, I was excited to hear back from him, but I was bummed out that he couldn't participate. And so the project that he was producing was in pre-production at the time, but it did end up coming out in summer 2017. Mm-hmm. And the film is called First Contact. Mm-hmm. So that was Daryl's, documentary. And if you watch the documentary and you watch Those Who Seek, you're going to see similarities. And this wasn't anything that he could have planned or anything that I could have planned. It just was like synchronistically like the same, approach to telling a story. He was documentary format. Mine was, narrative. But so I totally get it and I understand. So I went back to Rob and said, hey man, Daryl hit me back and he can't participate. But thank you for putting me in touch with him, and that was really exciting. So what do you think we should do? And Rob, Rob and Brad at this point both being very excited about the project and supportive of it and wanting to get involved. They're like, no, we got this. We're going to do something. So Rob then sends me to Wendy Kennedy, who
Mhm.
channels the ninth dimensional Pleiadians. And I reached out to her on Facebook, told her about the project, and asked her if she'd be interested in donating some videos. And she said, yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
I'd be happy to. Anything that you want that you can find of mine is yours. I was like, oh, awesome. And then they put me in touch with Nora Harold. She also channels the ninth dimensional Pleiadians collective. And they all showed an interest in being part of those who seek. So then Rob hits me up and he's like, I have an idea. I do the channel panel every year, the ET Whispers channel panel, and we're doing it in LA this year. We've got, some of the biggest names, in the industry are going to be there one way or another, supporting or being part of the program, and some of the more, active names, are going to be there in support. So why don't you just come out there and like film for the movie? And I said, wait, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And then I was like, for the ending of the movie, why don't you, Wendy, Wendy, you, Wendy, Nora, and Brad participate in those who seek, and I'll involve all of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll come out and I said, here's what I'll do. I'll use Wendy Kennedy's channeling videos for this scene where my character Felix Fox discovers channeling for the first time. And then I'll come out and I'll film a message of, Ardif, Pleiadians, and Adronis at the channel panel and use that at the ending of the movie. And so sure enough, it just so happened that in the budget of the film, we had enough money for a plane ticket, and I flew out there in 2015 and I shot. So if you watch Those Who Seek, you'll see the channeling that we filmed at the channel panel where, Rob and Brad and Nora channeled for the movie, and we chose a topic, and they did that, and it was amazing.
It's such a fitting ending to the movie too, is to see these people that and you respect, like Rob and Nora and everybody, and you see them at the end of the movie and you're like, oh, there they are,
Yeah, it was amazing. It was like a fan moment.
Yeah.
I'm like, these people were people that I looked up to, studying and watching their channeling.
Yeah.
Now I'm filming them and they're in my movie. It's like so cool.
Yeah.
And Brad was so helpful the whole way. Like, he marketed and promoted the fundraiser. Brad even put money down, so he's an executive producer in Those Who Seek, because he donated money to the film. And it was a great welcoming. The community was very welcoming to Daniel James, the little filmmaker out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, who wanted to do a channeling movie.
Yeah.
So the channeling community was very supportive. And now, flash forward, Brad and I become good friends, and we start doing other projects together, and I'm still doing films, and I'm still working as a videographer, and I'm still producing my independent acting career. And I get the inspiration in 2017, maybe I should do integrate my filmmaking with my quest for knowledge. And I wanted to start teaching metaphysics. I don't know how to do that, but I knew that's what I wanted to do. I love being in front of the camera. I love teaching. I love learning. How can I integrate these into one thing? So I'm pursuing my acting career, and my partner at the time and we decide to move to New York City to pursue our acting careers. And at the time that we wanted to do that, that was our plan for over 2 years. There was a lot of resistance around the move. Things kept coming up that made it challenging or expensive, and it was hard to find somewhere to live that we could afford. But we quit our jobs and stuff. We were ready to move to New York City. So we committed to do that, and we did it. But there was a lot of resistance energetically around the move.
Yeah.
So we go to New York City to pursue our acting careers, and the second we get there, it's like nothing but challenges and problems and difficulty and resistance. And I won't go into all of the gory personal details, but those 4 months for her and I were some of the hardest 4 months of our entire lives. We burnt through, $8,000 in 4 months. And, the second we got there, it was a very difficult experience for us.
Yeah.
Which ultimately some things happened to us there that there was, without a shadow of a doubt, the universe was taking us away from New York City, New Jersey area where we were living, and we were going to go back to Pennsylvania, whether we wanted to or not.
Right.
We fought it, but it was a difficult time, and we were synchronistically guided back to Pennsylvania. So when I got there, we had to lick our wounds and pick up the pieces, you know, we were like, just like getting back from the 4 months in that summer of 2017, after we went to our favorite city in the world to pursue our acting careers, and it totally, you know, crashed and burned in a sense. It was a difficult realization. It was a hard reality. We were having a lot of difficulty as a relationship and partners, but difficult in life itself, because everything that we knew had shifted. And now we're back in Pennsylvania in the fall of 2017. And it's not good.
Yeah.
We're having a hard time. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, you know, career-wise, in terms of like my acting career. I'm just going to say this once. I was having a lot of medical challenges, and that was affecting my ability to perform as an actor. And so that was a dark time. And having some physical challenges was hard to work in general, even as a videographer. And so I took that fall of 2017, doing a few acting projects and a few small film and video projects to really like reconsider what I wanted to do, what my plans were, you know, for the future. And in the process, I started tapping into, you know, my spirit guidance, you know, messages from spirit start coming in, and I'm getting these downloads of like, hey, Daniel, you know, your journey's not over. There's a reason for everything. And although you went to New York City to pursue your acting career, which was your dream to be an actor, even though it didn't manifest the way that you thought it should, the way that you believed that it would, it doesn't mean that there aren't plans in store for you. And I felt this guidance to start producing more, you know, metaphysical content that maybe, okay, well, I love acting and I love being creative, but I also want to be a teacher. And how can I marry that to film? So I get the inspiration to produce a web series, like a series of lectures of teachings. As myself, as Daniel James, come up with the idea to do a series of lectures where in a creative way, I teach my favorite topics, my favorite concepts in metaphysics and spirit science. And I come up with the name eventually, Reality Mechanics with Daniel James. So I make the plans to produce this, and I keep you know, running into setbacks, and then I'm doing other projects, and then I'm pulled in this direction, and then I'm moving. I have something that I do a lot. I move like back and forth to
Four
like
times
different
in 1 year, I think.
4 times in a year. One time I just move a lot. I just go where life takes me. I'd actually had the inspiration to produce this series before I moved to New York City, but we didn't have the time or the money to get it started before then, so I put it on hold. So then flash forward to fall and winter of, you know, 2017, I felt re-inspired to do this. And I was going to do it. And then my partner at the time decided, hey, I want to move again. Let's move back to Western New York, Buffalo, where our friends and family are. And I was like, hey, like, yes, but maybe like not right now, because the season that I do a lot of video work is starting, and I want to do this web series and stuff, and it's just not a good time to move again so soon after getting back from New York City. And she's like, no, I want to move. Like, we're going to move. And I'm like, but can we not? And she's like, no, we're going to move.
Right.
I was like, okay, let's move. So that set me back again. Well, my partner and I at the time had ended our relationship, and shortly after, Lauren and I met. And things were going very well very quickly. And with or without anybody's help, I had decided I'm going to produce this web series, Reality Mechanics. So Lauren gets in touch, you know, and we're talking, and basically she's like, I can help you. I want to help you in any way that you need help, any way that I can help. Let's get your series produced. I was like, okay, well, I could use some help, and, you know, we don't have a budget really. We're just kind of doing this with people who are donating time and energy to help. So let's do it. And we got together and we shot the first episode of Reality Mechanics in Buffalo, New York. And when was that? September, around September, I think,
Somewhere
in
around
Buffalo, New York. And it went really well. And so that was the first series in my sort of metaphysical spiritual teachings that I created and began production on. It was very exciting because it was something that I felt I had control over. You know, I can't get myself cast in movies no matter how many times I audition, you know, and I can always produce films, but whether or not we have a budget is another story. So, but this was something that I knew that we could do with small money and would be fun and cool. So we did the first episode, and one thing led to another. And being friends with Brad Johnson for years and years and years, he came and approached us saying, "Hey, I want to open this streaming network, and we're going to call it Awoken TV, and it's going to be a lot like Gaia TV or Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime, where it's going to be a streaming network, but it's going to focus on spiritual content, metaphysical content, anything in that realm, you know. And I'd love you to host your own show. You know, we need teachers, we need content, and, you know, you're somebody I trust, so why don't you make a show for the network?" He goes, "You can put reality mechanics on there." And I said, "Okay, well, yes, but we're going to do reality mechanics. Season 1 is going to be free to watch online because we want to make sure that we can reach as many people as possible. And the production value is so high for such a small budget on that show that I really didn't feel like I had it wasn't the right fit for the network."
Right.
But I said, "Well, what can I do as an alternative to reality mechanics?" And then everyone was like, "Well, you taught yourself how to channel, right? You channel." And I was like, they're like, "Who do you usually channel? Like, what's your thing?" And I was like, "I channel this very loving, benevolent reptilian being from Orion who calls himself Hermes. Their species is the Za of Orion. So I don't channel him very much, and I'm having friends and family telling me that I should be doing it more, that I'm good at it." And I was like, "Yeah, but like, I don't want to be a channeler.
Yeah.
I just taught myself how to do it for those who seek for the movie, but I didn't actually want to like be like a career-based channeler." So I was like, well, but maybe I'm kind of like being called to do this because it's a great fit for the network, and I don't channel very often, and people are telling me that they like my channeling, so why don't I just make a show for that network? We'll produce it together. Lauren and I will do it. You know, very grassroots skeleton crew. The two of us will produce a 30-minute series on a streaming network for no budget.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, let's do a thing. So what do we call it? And I meditated on it for a while, and Hermes is really good at sending me names for stuff. Hermes, the Za of Orion were the ones who named those who seek. I channeled that name. I didn't come up with it. So I'm thinking about it, and I come up with the name. I download the name Stories from Orion. So we make a channeling show where I channel the Za on Awoken TV called Stories from Orion. And Lauren and I just do it together by ourselves with our own gear, and we shoot it together, we edit it together, and we send it to Brad, and the network distributes it. And we're three right now at this time, we're 3 episodes deep, and those 3 episodes are available on the Awoken TV network. And we're shooting 2 more this coming Saturday, which would be like what, the 18th? Yeah, Saturday, May 18th. We're shooting 2 episodes back to back.
Yeah.
And then so like then I'm gonna actually give this to you, Lauren. So then we're 3 episodes deep in Stories from Orion. We're producing the show for Awoken TV. We're now 2 episodes deep in Reality Mechanics with Daniel James. We've shot 2 episodes of season 1, which is going to be 4 episodes, and those are going to be free to watch on YouTube.
Yeah.
We're producing those ourselves. And
We will be a 3rd episode in by the end of the month.
yeah, on May 29th in Buffalo, New York, we're shooting the 3rd episode of season 1.
Which is huge.
It's a huge
so
episode.
Exciting. So exciting.
It's a huge episode. So, and we'll talk more about the series and all that stuff. And then that leads us to now, or very recently. Lauren approached me with some ideas and some concepts that, yes, we're doing reality mechanics and it's going well, and it's a pretty high production value show for no budget. And we're doing Stories from Orion on Awoken TV, which is a pretty high production show that's distributed on a streaming network for no budget. What else can we do? Also,
on top
and
of
what
everything
happened?
else. So we had just gotten back from a trip to a spiritual expo that Brad Johnson had brought us out to. And on the drive home, I felt inspiration, some might say, where I felt that it would be important to offer more content of varying degrees of intensity, I guess, because reality mechanics is it's very involved. There's a lot more moving parts, and it's a lot more, creative and planned and scripted and all that. And then Awoken TV is pretty, are you okay? is pretty involved. And so I felt that we needed something that was casual. So I proposed this podcast actually first. And I figured like we could chat about different things and make it casual. And then from that, we had the idea that you could channel more than just Hermes. And that would be super exciting for everybody because you get to meet these different entities and you get to see how their relationship with humanity and all of that. So so we ended up deciding to put out 4 total pieces of content, which is a lot, and release it once a week. So for Awoken TV, we'll just do the trailer. We'll release it on the channel. But yeah, what else is there?
So basically, Lauren is working very hard to sort of like, get this sort of like brand name out there, this brand image. We are the TheMomentImaging is a creative video service that we offer. But I also have my Tragic Hero Productions, which is my film studio. We went through like this brand conversion recently where I decided that everything that I produced through Tragic Hero, I only wanted it to be our own intellectual property and our own creative original content. And then TheMomentImaging, everything that I produce under that title would be, services that we offer in creative video services.
More client-based
ideas.
Right.
And so we're like, Lauren's like, let's be YouTubers. So many people are YouTubers and become successful with YouTube as like a, launching pad, like a platform to kind of get you exposure. And I, for one, can say that I'm subscribed to like 400 different YouTube channels.
Yeah.
And I have like a regimen where it's like I don't watch TV. Like we don't watch television. We watch movies and shows and things like that we can control the content that we're consuming, but we don't watch like TV.
Yeah.
So I watch a lot of YouTube and things like that so that I can control the content that I want in my awareness. And it made sense to me when she said, why don't we just produce a couple shows and we'll do a podcast. We'll do a channeling show for you. And then we'll do Awoken TV where you have, that exclusive channeling show for Hermes. And then we'll put like, another thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to put short little teaser clips of stories from Orion on our YouTube channel. And it made sense because I'm pursuing this acting career and there's a lot of resistance around my acting pursuit. But there's no resistance around my film production. And, to make a long story short, I'm looking like, what else can I do to be creative and expressive? I have a big mouth. I talk a lot. I like to just like be creating things at all times.
Right.
And so this served as a good avenue and platform to sort of produce more, an outlet, thank you, to produce more content in a creative and fun way, with my best friend and just do stuff and be creative. And the channeling thing kind of just happened. Like I can channel, I do channel, but I still to this day don't call myself a channeler, even though I have a show on a network, and now we have a second show,
independent show. Well, here's the thing.
Like tell them about the channeling show. What's it called? What's the format? Like we have we're gonna do free channeling once a month on YouTube. Tell us about that. What is it?
Well, before I get to that,
okay.
I want to explain a little bit more about the reason why I feel that this content is super important is, like you said, because we are creators. We want to be making all this stuff and we want to be doing all this stuff. And I think a lot of the resistance with your like acting career is because you're not supposed to be acting in just anything, in my opinion. You're supposed to be doing what makes you feel best. And a lot of it is what makes the both of us feel best is teaching and spreading this sort of knowledge and learning from other people and sort of coming to an understanding of what resonates with each individual. And so most of this content is like, it's fun and it's really exciting, and I'll be a lot more involved in filmmaking, and I'll have a lot more, like, I'll do more editing and lighting, and I'm learning. And, but it's also just like, it just feeds our souls. Like, it just feels nice. But anyways, so about the channeling show.
I specifically didn't want to be another channeler on YouTube. I did not want to do that because I spent so much time watching those videos and studying that content. I felt that there were already enough people out there doing it and doing it well. People that I enjoyed watching and looked up to and became friends with. And I think, you know, I am a fanboy. I love movies. I love acting. I love having heroes. I love having people to look up to because it inspires me. And I know that, you know, everything is a version of myself. Everything is a reflection. But those versions of myself I value very much because they help propel me forward. So in the channeling community, I think there's only like 2 names, like, you know, 2 or 3 names in like the world that I've never talked to or met, you know. And I just didn't feel I wanted to pursue my acting career. My dream is I want to be in a movie with Keanu Reeves, you know, whether that's something that I'm producing that he's acting in or something that I'm just cast to work on and he and I are in the film together. It's my dream to be in a film with him. And that's been my pursuit for like 20 something years, you know. But all of these synchronicities are just opening up and unraveling me like a red carpet in front of me to be a channeler.
Right.
And so we're doing the Awoken TV thing, and Brad Johnson, my buddy, he brought Lauren and I to an expo in Philadelphia where we met some great people and had some good experiences. And there were people that I'd never met, you know, strangers to me, coming up to me saying, "Hey, Daniel, I saw your show on Awoken TV. I really like it. I can't wait to see more." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool. That's a nice little confirmation that, you know, what I'm doing has value and is making, you know, an impact, and that's great." And then I get people, you know, Rob and Kalina. They had offered me to channel for the 2018 channel panel. And that was a huge honor because I'd only ever channeled publicly, like on a podcast once a couple years ago. My friends Midnight Scario, I channeled on their podcast. And then I channeled in Those Who Seek. But Rob and Kalina, they wanted to kind of like pull me out of the dark, you know, and get me involved. And they're very loving and supportive friends in the community. So we're like, okay, fine, let's do it. Like, so Lauren was like, you should do it. So I just did the channel panel 2018 and it went well. And people were like, yo, that's amazing. We love your Hermes guy and we love the message and we love your channeling. It's awesome. And people were like, hey, can I hire you to do a session? Like, well, like I'll pay you money.
Like a private
to talk to
session.
aliens. I'm like, wait, I could get paid money to talk to aliens?
Like my favorite activity?
Yeah.
You're going to give me money for it.
And I was like, no. No, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And then I got the confirmation through Awoken TV that Stories from Orion was well received. You know, people were telling me that it was their favorite thing on the network.
Yeah.
Okay. The highest rated show on the network at one point.
Huge.
Which obviously it's not a big network where we're still growing and expanding. It's a new thing, but for how many subscribers it had at the time, that was really cool. So I agreed to do a channeling session where somebody hired me and it went amazing. You know, she's a really great person and I was nervous to do that, but it went well and so well that, you know, I'm going to keep doing it. So I've agreed to offer private channeling sessions, which is something I never thought I would do because I didn't want to be a channeler. I'm Daniel James, the actor, the filmmaker. Yeah, I teach metaphysics, but I want to be a fucking actor.
Yeah.
You know, but it wasn't happening. It just didn't manifest. It wasn't crystallizing the way that I wanted it to. But all of the channeling stuff was just like happening.
Yeah.
Like opportunity and, you know, all of these things. So like I'm just like stopping the resistance and just doing whatever is most synchronous and acting on the path of least resistance, right? And so now I'm doing channeling sessions and that's fun. And we're doing the Awoken TV thing, Stories from Orion, and then we're like, let's do a free channeling video where once a month we bring through one entity or the consciousness of another being once a month on YouTube, and we'll do it in a fun and creative way, you know. And so we went out one night for dinner, and we were trying to figure out what to call this thing. And here's how the name came.
Yeah.
We're sitting there at dinner, and we're like, what is the show about? Okay, well, we bring through the consciousness of a different being every episode. And I was like, I don't want to do a big intro like I have on all my other shows, a big introduction. I just want it to be good, streamlined channeling in a creative way.
Yeah.
But I'm a filmmaker, so I have to do something, you know, when I see like all the people, like some other channelers do like the cool backgrounds and stuff, you know, and in green screen. And so like maybe we'll do something like that.
Yeah.
And just do a straight channeling message by a new being every month. And we're like, what happens when you have a show and you bring somebody on?
It's like a monster of the week is what I called it. So, you know, like Buffy and X-Files, it's a monster of the week show. Every episode, there's somebody new. There's somebody exciting. So that's what I said, and it prompted you to
And
name
instantly
the
I
show.
blurted out, I go, today's guest.
Yeah.
Today's guest, right?
Yeah.
When you have a talk show and you bring on a special guest, they always say, all right, and today's guest is known for so-and-so and so-and-so and did this, that, and the third. It just came to me, and she turned to me and she wrote it down. And that was it.
And that was it, yeah.
And so
That's
the name of our channeling show is called Today's Guest.
Yeah.
And it's exciting and fun. And we've shot 2 episodes already. And it was a little stressful. It was a little nerve-wracking for me. Because I tend to, you know, be in a comfort zone with, you know, my Hermes guy and my channel spirit guides as well. I can tap into people's personal spirit guides, but doing other things, you know, other collectives or high vibrational beings, when their consciousness comes through me as a vessel, it's the analogy that I use, which is partly why I didn't want to be a channeler, is because I find it to be challenging.
Yeah.
Basically, my analogy for channeling for me is that it's like plugging in a 40-watt bulb into a 1,000-watt power supply. And you can screw that little light bulb into that power supply, but the wattage and the ampage is going to be so high, the frequency is so high, that little bulb is going to glow in the dark, but it's going to burn out real fast. And that's kind of what happens to me when I channel. So it's like the vibrational frequency of these entities that I'm bringing through are so high in vibration, and they vibrate at such a fast hertz frequency that my physical vessel can barely contain it.
But it is more like a muscle too. It's something that you can work on and that we're getting better with, I would think.
Yeah. You know, like anything, practice makes perfect, and you exercise and things become stronger and more efficient. And that's what it's like. I just don't do it enough. Like I don't channel as a hobby. I don't channel nonstop constantly as a job. It's just something that I can do, and I do when the opportunity arises. So I'm getting more comfortable, and I'm getting you know, better at that and being able to contain the energy. But if you ever watch my channelings or some of the newer stuff, sometimes I have, you know, strange mannerisms, and my body does weird things, and I contort, and it's really involuntary for me when I channel. It's not something I can control over. It's just the way that my body translates the energy that I feel is a lot higher than mine in terms of being physical. So we shot 2 episodes of the channeling thing, and that went well, and that was fun.
Super
and
exciting.
we're going to put those out on our YouTube channel, which is basically just my name, Daniel James, is the name of the YouTube channel. That's where you can find the new channeling show, our podcast,
Reality Mechanics. And then a teaser trailer for Awoken TV's newest episode.
Yeah, so like when we have a new episode of Stories from Orion, because that's distributed on a paid network, we'll put like a clip. People can check that out and see if it's something that they're interested in, something they want to, you know, look into further. Wow, we're coming in on the hour mark here.
Yeah. All right, so this episode was sort of more of like a getting to know you episode. In the future, we're going to be covering more specific topics. If there's anything you want to hear, you can just let us know. You can comment and let us know what you would like us to cover in the following month, because we'll be releasing them every month. But yeah, do you want to close this out?
If you've listened to this whole hour-long program, We've had some technical difficulties. Thanks for bearing with us. We're learning. We're growing.
Mm-hmm.
We're always expanding our consciousness. And what do people say on these things? Like, comment, subscribe? I don't know. But this will be available on SoundCloud, and it will also be available. The video will be on YouTube, where you can watch us talking.
See what we look like.
See what we look like.
Yeah.
I have a terrible slouch. I tend to hunch a little bit.
I got big hoop earrings on, so that's exciting.
Lauren's got big, all-seeing eyes in her ears.
Yeah, check that out. That's pretty exciting.
I mean, watch the video just to see her earrings, if I'm honest.
Honestly, it's a sight. But yeah. So, do you wanna cheers?
Yeah. Okay. Cheers to our first episode with our Steel Town cups.
Yeah.
And
Here we go. Thanks for watching.
peace
and
out.
listening.
We don't have a cool way of closing the dialogue. Goodbye.
Goodbye.